Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Alan, Front Page Fab, and it no worky.
Let's get in the shop and build. So,
Hey, thanks for joining the video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be bringing more racing content here, Lord willing, probably in the next week to 2 weeks. So here's an update on Greenbrook. Greenbrook was sounding strong, and everything seemed like it was going great. So this past Friday night, I took it over to Bunker Hill for a little test and tune, shakedown, and yeah, we shook it down all right, right down to a seized up transmission. So what happened, I got it out, drove it over to the tech area for tech inspection, drove it back to the trailer, waited a little bit, let it cool down because it was pretty stinking hot, and then I drove it over to the staging lanes. Everything was good. Pulled into the water box, did a nice little burnout, nothing too serious, just a nice little burnout, and let go of the trans brake button and brought it down into neutral. And as it did that, the engine died and would not restart, wouldn't even turn over. So I was quite puzzled by this because I was like, man, we had 75 pounds of oil pressure, and I just couldn't hear, or there didn't seem to be a reason for it. So I thought maybe my battery died, and so got a tow back to the trailer, the tow of shame, and pulled a battery out, and I was like, well, it's 5.5 years old, so it's possible. So Saturday morning I went to town, got a new battery, and that wasn't it. We got a way more serious issue. Something was seized. I could not turn the flywheel or flex plate at all, forwards or backwards, either way. So I either had a seized motor or something seized in the tranny. So at this point, we've been doing a lot of big diagnostics. This is now Tuesday evening, June 6th. And we believe the torque converter snout, which was a brand new converter, but we believe that is seized in the gears, or something is seized in the pump. I cannot pull it off at all. We've tried to come along, tied to the back axle, and tried to wiggle the transmission back off of the converter, and no go. She's froze solid. So we have to get, I guess, medieval on this. After talking to a few people, it's not an unheard of issue with some other brands. I've never had it happen with the C6 Ford, but something obviously happened to it. So we got to get medieval and break out serious tools. I've already tried, like I say, the come along. I've tried pry bars. Nothing's working. So I had one suggestion was to use a porta power. Huge shout out to Michael Landis for letting me borrow that. I really appreciate it. But before I go that route, because I'm pretty sure that's going to basically destroy the converter, even though I know the snout's destroyed, so that side of the converter's destroyed, I can hopefully save the internals if I don't have to use the porta power. So what I'm trying right now is I have took Sawzall to the bell housing and tried to open it up, and I'm trying to get all the pump housing bolts off, and then see if I can pop the transmission back and basically free up the pump, which would allow me to turn then the flywheel and get the flex plate, I'm sorry, the flex plate bolts out, and then bring the tranny down. And then from there, I can go further. It's not the end all. As you can see, I have another fresh C6 sitting right here. It does have a TCI valve body in it, and which is coming out because when I tried it 2 years ago, it would get up on the trans brake at low RPM, but as soon as I went up to the line and come up on the brake and come up to 4,500 RPM, it wouldn't hold it. It would lurch it forward. So that was a problem. It was lurching me past the start line every time I tried it. So that's coming out, and I'm going to put the broader valve body that's in the transmission that's sitting in the truck right now. I'll put that in this one. And I do have another converter from Edge Racing Converters sitting in a box. So we will stick that in, and hopefully everything will be okay after that. So that's the plan. We believe that what I've described to you is the problem. We do not believe that it is a seized motor. We will know more as soon as I can get this pump out. If that doesn't work, then I will use the porta power and try and split it that way. But we're trying this method first. So I'll get things switched around here, and I got to do a little sweeping under there because I do have a huge pile of aluminum shavings that you can't see there. But I want to sweep them up before I crawl underneath there, and I'll show you what I got going on. So be right back. All right, guys, I got the mess swept up under there, at least the mess that I made last night. As you can see, it's been a pretty serious litany of tools to work on this, and we're not done yet. So let me crawl under there and show you what we got cooking. At this point, we do not know yet what caused this. Once we get it down and out, hopefully we will be able to better understand what caused this. But for now, we got medieval on this bad boy. And basically we had to cut the whole, the bell housing up, as you can see here. What I'm trying right now, you can see those hole there, there's one there, another one right here, and another one here. That's the bottom four. I've already got those out. I've got the top left one out, and we're getting ready tonight to work. We've got two more bolts to get out, one at the very top and one at the top right. So that's, once we get those out, I'm hoping we can slip the transmission here back and pop the pump out. Once we get it out, I am fairly confident, 50% anyway, that I can then turn the flywheel so I can get to all the bolts. I've got one out right there because it was there. So I was able to get that one out, but I've still got three more to go, and I can't get to them until I can turn it. So that's what it takes whenever you have a seized pump, bearing, bushing, something onto your torque converter snout. This will not slide out at this point. So let me get those other two bolts out, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, y'all. So I was able to get all the bolts out finally. There's not much of the original bell housing left, but desperate times, desperate measures, you know. So what I did was I got them all out, and as you can see, I used my come along again, hooked onto the back of the tail shaft there, and I was able to pull the pump out 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch. And now if you look here, this is how I can't move it now. I got to take a bolt out, but I'm able now to rotate this, and I can get the flex plate bolts out, and we'll get this tranny down. Stand by. Okay, we have success. Converter is now free of the flex plate, and you can see I got a nice gap there. We are about ready to drop this sucker. So stay tuned, we'll have her on the ground. Okay guys, I finally got transmission down and got it apart, which I'll show you here in a second. But it was the pump gear broke and allowed the converter to lock up. So let me turn the camera around and I'll kind of show you what all we did. Here's the transmission, and as you can see, the bell housing area has been nicely air conditioned, and that's what we had to do in order to get in to those top three bolt holes there where the bolts were that held the pump in. Everything else looks perfect. So we'll get a new case cleaned up and get everything swapped over to there. Now moving over to the damage. This is the damage. So this gear right here was broke right here, and I'll post a picture of what it looked like before I cut all this out. So this gear was broke, it was over in here, and in order to get it out, I had to cut relief cuts. This one was there, so I cut that and then used a chisel and a hammer, got it cut down so far, and then I was able to crack that loose, but I could not get this out. So I had to make another cut here and cut out another section of the gear there in order to finally get this piece out, this piece out, this piece out, which let me get to this piece and finally this piece. Now, I haven't tried again, but this gear right here, this gear appears to be frozen. I've not been able to get it out yet. Now, I've not tried with the pry bar to see if I can crack it loose. I tried with these, but that didn't work. So anyway, here's this was a brand new converter. And basically what it allowed the gear to do, the gear has a flat, which has been kind of destroyed here, but you can kind of see that flat. That flat is supposed to go right there on that snout, like that. And then it turns this gear, which in turn turns the big ring gear, and that's what pumps your oil. So whenever the thing bound up, it kind of looks like right in here, it kind of pushed that in, and now this is not, it's kind of elongated. And when we took the stator out, I actually had to kind of use pry bars to get the stator to come up out of here. Once we did that, everything was good. But I don't see, pump actually doesn't look bad. I don't see much wear there till I get the gear out. And the stator area, you know, it doesn't look terrible. That grit's just from where I did a lot of cutting and stuff. Those new bands. So yeah, it was just something right here. And from what I can see, this gear is froze, I believe. I'm gonna see if I can get it out, but anyway, that's what it was. This assembly sits, well, the converter slides in. First it lines up on this gear, then slides down, and then you have to slip it through here and then line it up with those flats on this gear, and then that's the final seat into the housing. So we are going to get this, see about getting this fixed, and in the meantime I'm going to dig out my other converter and get that put back in so we can get rolling hopefully next week. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. We're going to get the old girl back up on her feet here, hopefully by the middle of next week is what my goal is. And we'll go from there. So y'all have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you on the next one.